Conference has for years been the personal kingdom of the Los Angeles Lakers, but the Kings have been dethroned. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar will be missing from these NBA Finals, replaced by a new cast of stars from Houston, like Hakeem Olajuwon, perhaps the NBA's next dominant center. Magic Johnson is not here, but Ralph Sampson is. And Sampson's game-winning buzzer beater against the Lakers signaled the end of one era, and hopefully for the Rockets, the dawning of a new one. Boston's K.C. Jones and Houston's Bill Fitch are no strangers to the NBA Finals, but there's an irony here. 5 years ago, Fitch won a title coaching the Celtics. And welcome to the aging Boston Garden, an arena that was built back in 1928 for $10 million. You probably know this place now as the center of the basketball universe, because 15 times the Boston Celtics have won NBA championships at the Garden. And today they begin their quest for number 16. So far, you know, 1986 has been the year of tradition in sports. Jack Nicklaus wins the Masters. Bill Shoemaker captures the Kentucky Derby, and the Montreal Canadiens again rule the hockey world. And nothing is more traditional in all of sports than the Boston Celtics playing for another NBA title. So welcome to the 1986 NBA Finals. It's the Houston Rockets and the Boston Celtics. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I am Brent Musburger. No, the Los Angeles Lakers are not here. The Houston Rockets upset the Lakers, winning the last 4 games of a 5-game series. It is the tall, young Rockets who drew strength together and came roaring down the stretch. This is a team that overcame all kinds of adversity during the regular season. First of all, their big man, Hakeem Olajuwon, went down with a knee injury. He would be forced to miss 14 games, and during his absence, the Rockets could play no better than .500 basketball, 7-7. Then Houston's talented point guard, John Lucas, was dropped from the team because of his continued involvement with drugs. But the bench stepped in and picked up the slack. And then here in the Boston Garden, Ralph Sampson went down with a frightening back injury in a game against the Celtics. He was carried off the floor, but he would miss only 3 games and return to the Rockets lineup. Now, the record book says that the Rockets lost their only 2 games to the Celtics this year. That is terribly misleading. You see, in that first game, Olajuwon did not play because of the knee injury. And in the second one, Sampson played only 22 minutes until he went down with the injured back. So there is an air of uncertainty surrounding this NBA final. And for more, let's go down to the floor, and here's Dick Stockton and Tommy Heinsohn. Dick?
Thank you very much, Brent. Never before in the NBA Finals have we seen such a collection of size in the front court. 5 quality big men on both teams will wage war inside. Keep in mind that they all are in the 7-foot range, and one man in particular could give the Celtics the edge in numbers, and that's Bill Walton. Bill Walton was acquired this year to perhaps be the final piece in another Celtic championship puzzle. So while we may see some dazzling play in the backcourt, we know that the real action will be above the rim. Tommy Heinsohn, how does the size affect the strategy in this game?
K.C. Jones feels that he has that size advantage by sheer weight of numbers. He's got 4 big guys to go against 2 big guys for the Rockets. He's going to try and slow the game down to take advantage of that and use the best matchup, the guy that he thinks the hottest in the low post.
Houston wants to go a different way, don't they?
Bill Fitch feels in order for the Rockets to win, they have to run. They have tremendous speed up front. That big guys can all get it up and down the court. He's counting on that to be a deciding factor in this series.
Tommy, why don't you talk and break down the key areas and which team has the advantage?
Dick, I think the speed advantage definitely has to go to the Houston Rockets with those 3 big guys able to get up on the fast break. The front line, I would give to Boston by sheer weight of numbers. All of them can score inside. The backcourt, I call as even, and I think it'll be more of a factor as the series goes along. The bench without Scott Wedman, I think right now is even. The Celtics only have 7 quality players. The Rockets have 8.
Scott Wedman, of course, has fractured ribs, and K.C. Jones does not expect to count on him in this series. If there's an intangible in this series, might it be the so-called court savvy the Celtics have?
Yeah, what is court savvy, Dick? Court savvy, to me, is reading game situations. I think the Celtics, all 5 of them, as a matter of fact, do it very, very well. And another little ingredient that we didn't talk about, they all can pass the ball.
And they all win, too. They've won 38 in a row on their home court. For more, let's go back upstairs to Brent.
All right, Dick, Tommy Heinsohn put his finger on it. They all pass the ball, and that's because of one very special athlete here in Boston. His name is Larry Bird. He is being compared with the best ever. And every time you see Bird play, he shows you something new. No doubt he will have a brand new wrinkle for these Houston Rockets. In their only 2 meetings this year, Bird scored 31 and 36 points. He's the reason why, in this, the first game of the NBA Final, the Boston Celtics are favored over the Houston Rockets by as many as 9 points in some quarters. So pull up a chair, sit back and relax. It's the NBA Final on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1986 NBA Finals is sponsored by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. America's best back trucks at Dodge. We don't just talk tough, we prove it. And by Converse. Reach for the stars. Reach for Converse.
At forward in his 3rd year from Louisville, number 22, Rodney McCray. At forward in his 3rd year from Virginia, number 50, Ralph Sampson. At center in his 2nd year from Houston, number 34, Hakeem Olajuwon. And the head coach for the Houston Rockets, Bill Fitch. And now, let's meet the starters for the Boston Celtics. At guard, in his 10th year from Pepperdine, number 3, Dennis Johnson. The other guard, in his 5th year from Brigham Young, number 44, Danny Ainge. At center, in his 10th year from Centenary, and number 00, Robert Parrish. At forward, in his 6th year from Minnesota, number 32, Kevin McHale. At forward, in his 7th year from Indiana State, number 33, Larry Bird. And the head coach for the Boston Celtics, K.C. Jones.
Officials for Game 1 of our Best of 7 NBA Final. Ed Rush and Jack Madden. Hugh Evans is the alternate. There was a smattering of boos for Bill Fitch, former coach and a champion here in Boston. And Tommy, Bill told us yesterday, he says, I realize I can't equalize Larry Bird. He's going to have a great series. My hope is to hold down 2 other Celtics. Doesn't matter which 2 each game. Then we have a chance.
I think he's exactly right, because Bird will not be equaled by McCray offensively or maybe even rebound-wise.
And I guess in game number 1, before all the adjustments, the teams are going to go with what they're used to going with.
They haven't played each other that much, as Brent mentioned, and they're not sure how to try and beat each other. Quite simply, they're going to have to develop a game plan of how to beat each other, and I think you'll see them and then focus in on weaknesses for the second game.
Celtics in white, the Rockets in red. Surprise for those people who thought it was automatic Philadelphia or automatic LA in Boston. And it's going to be Celtics ball on a violation on the jump.
Stole the tip, and pretty tough to throw it up so a 7'4" guy can get it at the peak of its, toss. It's really tough.
So here they start. The Celtics looking for their 16th World Championship. Beat Houston 5 years ago. This is a better Houston team and perhaps a better Celtic team as well, and we have our first official turnover of the ball game. Danny Ainge is guarding Reed. Bird will be guarding McRae, but trying to slough off him as much as possible. Reed with the first shot of the game, and the Rockets are in front 2-0.
Well, the interesting matchup as far as the Rockets are concerned, McHale's got Olajuwon.
Which was a switch. The original plan was to have Parrish on him. But they looked at the tape and they saw McHale block 3 of his shots the last time they played. 8 on the shot clock for Boston. Bird off balance. Throws up a rare air ball, and it's Houston's possession. The Celtics have won, as we said, 38 in a row. Counting 3 games in Hartford, have lost only 1 game at home all year. That was to Portland in December.
Well, let's see who Houston goes to. Olajuwon being guarded McHale. That's a good matchup.
Bird doubles Olajuwon, who tries to pass it to McRae, who loses it out of bounds.
Double teaming him right away, forcing him to pass the ball. So he'll have to be alert to people coming at him from all angles, Olajuwon.
How come the Celtics have blossomed so much as a passing team this year?
I think Walton and Larry Bird got into dueling passes, and the rest ought to be fun. They came along with it.
A 2-point basket for Larry Bird, who has made a living with 3-point shots, and the Celtics score. They're going to go to a lot to McRae, I think, because he'll keep Bird busy defensively, but the Rockets turn it over again. Danny Ainge guarded by Lloyd, so there's a switch in the backcourt matchup. Larry Bird hits his first 2 shots that hit something. He hit an air ball and then he made 2 in a row.
Larry Bird against McRae will be able to get the shots off if he's isolated on one side of the court.
Here's McRae, blocked by McHale, coming off to help. McHale had 5 blocked shots in 2 games against the Rockets this year.
Bill Fitch wants Larry Bird to have to play somebody. He doesn't want him as a free defender in there.
Olajuwon inside gives you a preview of what he's about to do, and nearly 2 minutes gone by in the opening period. Sampson on McHale. And a goaltend charge against Olajuwon. Credit the basket to Kevin McHale, who really faked Sampson out of his boots there.
Kevin McHale says, when I'm playing against a guy that size, I've got to move him around a little bit and throw some fakes at him.
Celtics by 2. Olajuwon, double team. Lloyd gets the offensive rebound. Crashing the board with Olajuwon. Dennis Johnson pushes it up for the Celtics. Bird finds Parrish. McRae coming back down. The ball handlers are Reed and McRae. McRae kind of a point forward. And Reed is pushed by Danny Ainge.
They want to go out and play Reed tough, but take a look at this great move by Kevin McHale. He gets great low post position, and if he can put it on the floor once or twice before the double team develops, he can get away, get the shot. But Akeem ready for the block.
Sampson misses. Pass to Parrish. Ralph is back defensively. Dennis Johnson. Celtics hitting from outside, and Bill Fitch wants a timeout. Celtics have hit their last 5 shots.
Very difficult for McHale to shoot over a man 7'4". He's going to have to really move around a little bit. You're going to see this move right now. Sampson will give him the better position. Not a real muscle guy, and Kevin's got those good fakes, but Olajuwon shadowing is going to turn loose Robert Parrish on the weak side, the way they're currently matched up. Up the other end of the court, when Sampson is playing against Robert Parrish, they may end up taking him in the low hole. They've got 2 good matchups right now. I think they can work inside the Rockets.
Does Ralph Sampson learn anything from that move by McHale?
Stay on the floor.
Here's the shooting story, and Larry Bird has played a big part of it in the opening moments of this game. 5 out of 6, and Larry Bird has hit 2 out of 3. So the early timeout by Bill Fitch. And what do you think his first words were to his team?
Well, just calm down, relax, and let's peck away. Don't get carried away. Keep your poise.
They've done that throughout the playoffs. surprising a lot of people. Robert Reed looking for Lloyd. Dennis Johnson, one of the best defenders in the league, on Lloyd. Sampson against Parrish. They go in, and Ralph Sampson pushes the bank. Olajuwon follow-up and his push. That's one of the things that happen with the Rockets inside. They may not always score, but somehow they get fouled.
Well, they feel perhaps Parrish is foul prone as Sampson and as McHale not blocking out Olajuwon, which is a serious mistake in this series. You've got to go out and get him before he gets a head of steam up.
Foul is on Larry Bird, and here's Hakeem Olajuwon, who has been nothing short of sensational. Pro basketball's newest phenomenon, and opening up everyone's eyes with his play against the Lakers, but has been a 63% shooter from the line. Goes to the line a lot, but misses his share.
I'll tell you, he's not impressed with coming into the Boston Garden whatsoever. The first time he came in here, he said, "What's so great about this? It looks like an old barn."
Which is not exactly how he said it.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Try to pass inside. They try to force it to the Celtics, and Roger McRae picked it off. Lewis Lloyd saves it into the hands of Sampson. Knocked away by Ainge, and they're going to call a foul. Sloppy play on both sides, and the foul is against the Rockets. It's against Ralph Sampson, who's had a penchant for picking up ridiculous fouls.
That is not what the Rockets need. Early fouls on either one of their big people, because they are really going to be the most troublesome for the Rockets.
You know the Celtics want to get the two guys in foul trouble. Parrish over Olajuwon. Reed gets the rebound. Rockets like to push it up at every inch, so they don't have the pure point guard in Lucas anymore. Robert Reed hits his second shot, and with under 8 minutes to go first period, Celtic lead is 3.
They pushed it up nicely that time, the Rockets. Got that speed in action.
McHale going against Sampson, and Sampson picks up his second personal foul, and Ralph on the verge of being in foul trouble that would necessitate Bill Fitch going to the bench and Jim Peterson.
I think the Celtics so far have worked both matchups. Once for Robert Parrish against Hakeem down on the low post, and the other and a few times for McHale. So they're definitely trying to work those two guys into early foul trouble.
Jim Peterson, who has come on strong off the bench, much stronger than he was when he was drafted 51st out of Minnesota, and has been a fine backup front court man for Bill Fitch. McHale misses 2 free throws, and the Rockets will try to cut it to 1. Olajuwon trying to post up McHale. Now Sampson down low against Parrish. Reed finds an opening. And Robert Reed, the leader of this club, who played well against the Celtics 5 years ago, scores, and Houston has run off 5 in a row now.
You don't expect anybody to penetrate like that, but penetration will score, because the Celtics are not going to go for block shots. They're going to keep a body on Olajuwon and Sampson.
Reed commits his first personal foul. The Rockets, a different team now than they were during the regular season. And Pat Riley learned that lesson solidly. Bird's the cover, and he gets fouled. Looked like Bird wanted to make that extra pass to McHale going in, and he'll go to the line, and that'll be against Ralph Sampson, I think, and that's 3 on Sampson. So early foul trouble for Ralph. 7:15 to go in the first, and Jim Peterson enters the game.
I'm going to see Bird come off a pick here, set nicely by McHale. Sampson has to switch, and Bird is just canny enough to create the foul situation.
So here's Jim Peterson, who has a big responsibility now in for Ralph Sampson, and we'll see how much Kevin McHale tries to test him in. They were both out of Minnesota. In fact, McHale tried to recruit Peterson, who originally wanted to attend Duke in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
He's going to have to score a little bit in this series. Didn't have to in the last one.
And he's not known for his offense. He can board and he can play defense. Lewis Lloyd missing from the corner, and the rebound by Dennis Johnson. 3-point Celtic lead, 12-9. First period, game 1. Parrish. It was deflected by Olajuwon. And here comes Robert Reed again.
Parrish usually gets that shot off against anybody.
Olajuwon on a feed from Reed. So Reed, not a true point guard by any stretch of the imagination, looked like one there. McHale posting up Peterson. Welcome to the club, Jim, and McHale scores on it. Quickly back. Reed doing most of the ball handling, more than McRae, who's playing outside. Bird now doubling on Olajuwon, leaving McRae open. Oh! He had the layup, missed it, and the Celtics 3-on-2 to Bird. Five-point Boston lead.
Celtics may not have speed on their fast break, but they know how to get the ball to the right guy.
And McHale commits his first foul against Olajuwon. Tough inside. Here's the Boston Celtic break.
You're going to see Dennis Johnson come to the middle, look to see if both wings are filled, and then creates the open lane for Larry Bird for the stuff. He looked off the defense, made an easy pass to Bird.
Here's the early shooting story. The Celtics have been hot. Olajuwon continues to struggle from the free throw line. Bill Fitch yesterday was telling us whatever he's doing offensively, his real potential, he feels, is on the defensive end.
And I don't think he's going to be roaming around quite as much in this series playing shadow defense as he did against the Lakers, because Parrish will take advantage going to the boards against him.
Celtics shooting well, leading by 4. Mano a mano with Olajuwon, and the Rockets with Lewis Lloyd bringing it down. Lloyd is a tough open court player in traffic. Feeds inside to McRae, who uses his body well, and the Rockets trail by a bucket.
And the Rockets are keying on looking for McRae when Bird is back zoning it.
Dennis Johnson missing. Peterson gets the rebound. Celtics back defensively. That's not going to stop Lewis Lloyd. Olajuwon put in, but you can see that he's following it up pretty well. Celtics breaking out. Dennis Johnson is fouled. What does that tell you? That Hakeem Olajuwon, who didn't get the stuff, doing the job as a trailer there.
When he comes up the floor like that, he's going to beat any of the Celtic big guys. He can be a real force on cleanup rebounders on the fast break. He missed it that time, but if he keeps running, he's going to make his presence felt.
Rodney McRae committing the foul, and here's the catalyst of this club, great money player who performs his best under pressure, Dennis Johnson, who was the MVP of the '79 championship series, won by Seattle. There's Scott Wedman, who is out of action in civilian clothes with the fractured ribs. Johnson, by the way, already has 5 rebounds.
Well, the Boston guards can rebound. The Rockets guards help immensely in the LA series in that department.
Mitchell Wiggins in particular, who hasn't yet come in. 1 out of 2 for Dennis Johnson. Winding down to 5 minutes to go opening period. 3-point lead for the Celtics. Olajuwon. Rainbow shot, misses everything. Left-handed pass by Bird. Break by Boston. McHale. Great play. Bird has 8. McHale has 6. 14 for those 2 forwards. And Bill Walton gets off the bench. On the turnover. McHale and a foul.
See some good defense, create a good opportunity. Parrish picks it up, but the Celtics push it down the sideline. They can advance it, but look how quickly. This is the Celtics variation in the fast break. Quick low post-ups by Kevin McHale. Tough to defend against that.
Bill Walton has come into the game. The 6th man of the year, voted in the NBA. 33 years old. He's in for Parrish. Foul was on Peterson, who goes on the offensive and misses everything. Celtics defense inside is tremendous. Bird to Walton. And the Celtics are giving a clinic here in the first period, up by 10.
Walton beat Olajuwon back on the D.
Reed, though, breaks that string, and Robert Reed has 8 points. He hasn't missed in 4 tries.
But we saw these Rockets have the same type of situation against the Lakers. They hung in nicely against the Lakers.
And we'll have a loose ball foul called against the Celtics. And a good point, Tom. The Celtics are playing as well as they can play, and Houston knows what it's like to be behind against strong teams early.
And they didn't lose their poise in the last series, and they're hanging in there right now, and the likes of McRae and Reed will be important in that regard.
McHale picks up his second personal foul. Kevin McHale, who has 9 points here in the first period, and the Celtics, not the Rockets, making hay on the fast break.
Well, one of the problems with John Lucas leaving this ball club was that they ran the fast break with the middleman, a push man up the middle. He had the ball most of the time. Without him, they had to develop another type of fast break with this man, Robert Reed, and more passing down the sidelines, and they really haven't had enough practices to make it work.
We're at Boston Garden for Game 1 of the NBA Finals here on CBS. Dick Stockton along with Tom Heinsohn. Celtics against a surprise opponent, the Houston Rockets, and right now leading 24-16 with 3:36 to go in the opening period. Danny Ainge, hand in Reed's face. Reed, using his size advantage, hits again, and Robert Reed keeping the Rockets in this game, perfect from the field and 10 points.
Without Sampson in there, Lewis Lloyd becomes more prominent in their offense, and so will Robert Reed.
Sampson picked up 3 quick fouls, went to the bench. Dennis Johnson now working inside, passes off the board, and here's Lewis Lloyd. Bird is back on defense, pass into McRae, and McRae on a fine pass. That was Houston's version of their passing game.
I'll tell you, they get up the floor fast. If they can make the right passes, they're going to score a lot of points.
And a turnover by the Celtics. Peterson was alert, and now Houston down by 10, can cut it to 2. Jim Peterson misses. There's Olajuwon, and it's a 2-point game. How quickly the Rockets have come back, 8 in a row for Bill Fitch's.
The consistency of the Rockets running, very important. Keep coming at Boston.
And a timeout called by the Boston Celtics. And now you know why the Houston Rockets at least have gotten this far.
With the big people for the Rockets, these two guys right here, Jim Peterson and Kevin McHale, are going to play each other up the other end of the court. You're going to see the steal now by Peterson and then outrace Kevin McHale up the court. You will also see Akeem Olajuwon right now. Walton is getting back to pick him up, but he is going to have a good angle for a rebound on the miss. They keep putting that speed on Kevin McHale. It's going to take a little away from his offense in the second half. Now you watch Olajuwon battle over there. Even though Walton's doing a creditable job trying to block him out, you're going to get the rebounds if you keep doing that. There's another angle. Walton giving it all he can to block the relentless man out, Akeem Olajuwon.
He has 8 points and 4 rebounds, 3 of them off the offensive glass. Celtic lead once 10 has been cut to 2, quieting this capacity map Boston Garden crowd. Larry Bird trying to get the Celtics on track again, and he does. He is in double figures with 10.
We're seeing young legs in action right now. Akeem has played a lot of minutes in this quarter, and he's still fresh.
Goes in against Walton as if he were not there, and it's again 26-24. Each team had scored 8 in a row. Now trading baskets, and the Celtics are up. Running down to 2 minutes to go in the first period. Celtics have the edge in the front court. Dennis Johnson wide open from Danny Ainge.
Bird loves to be double-teamed when he's in that mid-post area. He finds the weak side to shoot it very well.
McRae going in for the layup. And now Rodney McRae, who Casey Jones says quietly comes along and does the job, playing in the shadow of the Twin Towers, has 6 points.
Now Larry Bird is worried about his speed on the fast break.
An illegal defense called against the Houston Rockets. Second time will mean a technical foul.
Well, they're attacking Olajuwon with Bird. They're trying to get him looking to see if he's going to help. And they're going to find Walton if they can.
McHale working against Peterson. And McHale will go to the line and shoot a pair. Foul is on Peterson.
Bird, you'll see being doubled on this side of the court now. He knows that there's somebody open on the weak side away from the ball, and they alertly move it to the wide open man. Houston with their big people don't rotate quite as well as the players in the Milwaukee series did against the Celtics.
Peterson has his second personal foul, and Kevin McHale on the line. Also, with his fine offensive weapons, was named to the NBA's all-defensive first team, and if he improved in any area this year, probably as a passer.
He's been improving steadily since he first came under the tutelage of Bill Fitch. Now, he's become a monster in this league now.
He wasn't crazy about Bill Fitch when he played here, but Fitch didn't hurt his progress in it. Reed misses finally, and the rebound by Walton. Hayes, Bird, outside. And Olajuwon gets the rebound. The Celtics don't have any offensive rebounds so far in this game, which is unusual for them. Lewis Lloyd, looking to get on track, goes off the glass with an outside shot in his first point.
If they take the push shot right off the push, the Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon's going to get an awful lot of offensive rebounds, but they better get back on defense to protect against Walton taking off. He's hustling.
So Walton beat the Rockets down court the way Olajuwon and Peterson did the other time you showed on the chalkboard. Hakeem. Tipped away by Dennis Johnson. 35 seconds to go. Walton taking his time, slowly coming up court. Reed is on DJ with 15 seconds to go in the shot clock in this period. 4-point lead. Here's McHale low. And Walton tips it in. He was there.
That's making Hakeem's shadow defense pay for the Celtics. Walton went straight for the rebound.
Tommy said as the final seconds tick off in the opening period, each team going with its strength. Adjustments will come later. Steal, Dennis Johnson. Reed coming back. And Danny Ainge doesn't get it as the buzzer sounds, and it was Robert Reed. Hustle down court. Did the job on Dennis Johnson, and Danny Ainge just missed a chance for the basket. But that's the end of the first period of the 1986 NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics lead the Houston Rockets 34-28. And trail 34-28 after one period of play. And how would you capsulize what we've seen, Tommy?
I think just exactly as we said at the top, both teams going to their strengths, working matchups. The Boston Celtics trying to get one of the big guys in foul trouble. They succeed in getting Sampson on the sideline with 3 personals. And I think Houston has just run and run and run and made it pay.
Jerry Seasting, the other key acquisition for the Celtics before the year, a 6'1" outside shooting guard is in there now, along with Greg Height, who's a banger inside. So a big lineup used by Casey Jones starting the second period, and we'll have a foul call. Mitchell Wiggins is in at guard number 15 for the Houston Rockets. There's Wiggins, good outside shooter, an outstanding defensive player in at guard.
And very smart when Hakeem gets doubled, he'll go to the boards or get open.
Danny Ainge picked up his second foul early here in the second. McRae over Bird. Here's Olajuwon against Walton and Kite, who did the job on him that time. Bird has 10, McHale with 11. McHale on the bench, and Larry Bird. Miss. Celtics keep possession. Seasting, an outstanding outside shooter, hit 58% during the regular season from outside. McRae on Bird. Got the height advantage in there. Reverse layup by Larry Bird, who has every move in the book.
Boy, he lifted 1 and 2 of the Rockets. What a fake.
8-point lead for the Celtics. Biggest lead was 10 in the first period, and the Rockets came roaring back. Wiggins comes out of the pack. streak shooter outside. This is his first try. Bird the rebound. Ainge trying to go all the way and penetrate. Terrific play by Danny Ainge, who Casey Jones says has been the outstanding player other than Bird in the playoffs for Boston so far.
Ainge has filled the cracks during the playoffs for the Celtics. He splits the defense. They step aside. He kind of got fouled there, I thought, by Peterson. Gets the hoop, and it counts. No foul.
And the Celtics have scored 8 in a row of their own and open up a 10-point margin.
Here in basketball, it's easy to forget there's another city involved in this series, and Houston, they're waiting for this series to come down there after 2 games here, and boy are they waiting. This was the scene on Thursday morning after the Rockets beat the Los Angeles Lakers. 10,000 people at the airport, and I got to tell you, it took us 2.5 hours to get out of that airport. And the fans loved it. Now this morning at the hotel to send the Rockets off to the game today, a scroll arrived with 52,000 signatures. That's more people than they can get in the Astrodome in Houston. Yes, they love their Rockets. Now, they are savoring every moment of this series. And Robert Reed said the downside of that is they're traveling the wives and the girlfriends. That's fine. But all the luggage they have to take off the airplane. He didn't tell me how many of those bags were his, though. Let's go back to Dick.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. The rebounding picture right now shows the Celtics with an edge, but Tommy, tell me about Greg Kite's early insertion into this game for Boston.
Well, without Wedman, Greg Kite will play an awful lot in this series because of his big body and his ability to bang on the boards. He's not a very talented offensive player. He can score on the fast break, but he is relentless himself on the boards.
Then the 3-man show for the Rockets, 26 of their 28 by Akeem, Reed, and McRae. So it's been a 3-man effort right now, and Reed, one of them, has it with 6 seconds on the shot clock. This is the jumper. There's Mitchell Wiggins with the rebound, and he misses. Rockets not hitting those outside shots and medium-range shots that worked for them against L.A. so far.
I'll tell you, Greg Kite went out and got Olajuwon about 15 feet from the basket so he couldn't get the rebound.
Larry Bird and Wiggins with another rebound. He's a good rebounding guard. He says sometimes they forget about the little guys going through. McRae around Kite.
Here's a matchup for the Rockets. Reed against Seaston. He can get a shot off any time.
Except there when Walton came over and blocked that shot
on the switch. But if he goes one-on-one against Seaston, he'll be able to get the jump shot off. Here's Walton right on his shooting hand, swats it away.
And Larry Bird leaves. Kevin McHale comes back, and a hand for Bird. It goes out with 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Olajuwon, wild shot. Fighting inside, it's still Rockets ball with 9:31 to go in the first half.
Bill Walton is banging and scrapping with Kite playing Olajuwon. That's going to turn Walton loose on the defensive glass for the Celtics.
So Kite and Walton and McHale, a lot of bulk and size in there for the Celtics. Olajuwon's pass quickly makes up for it, gets to Peterson, who lays it in. Good second effort by Olajuwon. He played goalie in the sport of soccer, and he's made that foot-eye coordination work to perfection. Ainge. Turnover. Kite to Reed. Seaston was looking for a charge. It goes out of bounds. Rockets ball. An 8-point Celtic lead, and Larry Bird runs back into the game. Kite will go out of the ball game. He did his job in the short time he was in there.
I'll tell you, he played Olajuwon just the way you're supposed to play him. Block him out 15 feet from the hoop.
And Walton goes out, replaced by Parrish. Danny Ainge gets a hand as Dennis Johnson comes back in.
Casey usually lets that second unit in there for a little longer than that.
Olajuwon with the basket. Akeem has 12 points, and it's a 38-32 game. So once again, the Celtics opening up a 10-point lead on 2 occasions. See the Rockets come back. Parrish. Bird on the other side keeps it alive. Blocked by Olajuwon into the hands of Reed. 2-on-2. Now Wiggins makes it 3. Pulls up, and it's a 4-point ball game now. Mitchell Wiggins hit. By the way, Walton went out with 6 points and 4 rebounds and a blocked shot in his brief period.
Not bad. They're going to count on him to really do a lot of rebounding in the series.
In a game of streak scores, Harris gets the basket and is fouled. Rockets had scored 6 in a row, and Bill Fitch doesn't like what he's seeing early on, and the foul is on Hakeem Olajuwon, number 1.
Well, they haven't gone a lot at Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm sure Bill Fitch says right now, I may have to just tell Hakeem to back off a little bit against Parrish and not be too aggressive defending against him.
Ralph Sampson picked up 3 fouls and went out with 7 minutes to go in the first period, with the Rockets trailing by 1. They're down by 6. Wiggins to Hakeem, basket counts and a foul. That was a move you don't see by many centers who have played this game.
He didn't even know the double team was there, and he gets the blow and still has the presence of mind. You'll see him now. Dennis Johnson makes a good defensive play against Wiggins, right into Bird, and still has the presence to score the hoop. I mean, this man has learned an awful lot of basketball since he's been in the United States.
Bird picks up his second foul, and Cece throws it away. Rockets ball, trailing by 3. So Casey Jones wondering what he has to do to protect a lead of 10 points as the Rockets have chipped away both times.
We're seeing some of the things that the Lakers ended up doing, throwing the ball away seemingly for no reason.
An 11-2 run by the Rockets. Olajuwon already with 17 points. He's averaged nearly 28 in the playoffs. Harris on top. Reed on Dennis Johnson. Bird with a fadeaway. Larry Bird with 14 in the first half. Houston getting off 4 more shots than the Celtics this period. 7:20 on the clock in the half. McCray going in strong to the hoop. The basket counts in a foul. Good acceleration right around Larry Bird for Rodney McCray.
That is going to be a very important move by Rodney McCray. It's going to get Larry Bird thinking a little bit about how he's going to help out on Hakeem. He's going to get beat by the speed anytime that McCray can take it to the basket. One dribble drive, he'll be able to beat Bird.
Seasting on the foul, and the Rockets can tie the game here. Rodney McCray misses the free throw. McHale quickly with the board, and it's 42-41 in favor of the Celtics. Peterson has had to play a lot of minutes with Sampson in foul trouble. Olajuwon has not taken a breather yet. Missing outside, Dennis Johnson, and they're going to call the foul on the elbow against Mitchell Wiggins. The top scorers in the ball game, to bring you up to date in that department, Olajuwon and Bird, to no one's surprise.
Leading rebounders, huh? Wow.
And here's Dennis Johnson.
Well, DJ has to offset Lewis Lloyd and Wiggins offensively. I think more as the series develops, that more and more pressure will be on the guards of the Celtics to produce.
Celtics have had their troubles at the free throw line. They're 6 of 12 from the free throw line. They have shot better from the foul line than the Rockets in the playoffs, and now Houston trying to take the lead with a little under 7 minutes to go in the first half.
I better talk to that leprechaun that sits on the rim.
Wiggins. And there's Olajuwon with another offensive rebound, wending his way in and giving the Rockets the lead since 2-0. And they've done it with Ralph Sampson on the bench with 3 fouls. Houston up 43-42.
Well, McHale is not playing Olajuwon like Greg Kite did. He just turns him loose on the boards. You can't do that. Olajuwon will kill you.
And Peterson playing McHale awfully tight. Tommy mentioned at the top, strength against strength. We'll make the adjustments as we go along. Bird. 2 seconds on the clock. Parrish hits the shot with 1 on the 24-second clock. Celtics regain the lead by 1. McCray isolated against Bird. Peterson. Short against Houston.
They're going to try and take advantage of this man on the offensive rebound side, too, the Rockets.
A television timeout call in a one-point game. Continue Game 2 on Thursday night. Prime time on CBS beginning at 9 o'clock Eastern time here at the Boston Garden before the series moves to Houston for Games 3, 4, and 5 if necessary. And there's Australian golfer Greg Norman, who had a fine showing in the Masters. Mitchell Wiggins got a technical foul as a result of this play, Tommy.
Wiggins is a good offensive rebounder, and when he thinks he's going to be in a good position against a smaller player like Seasting, he's going in there, but he just shucks Seasting. Didn't think he really did it. Beef to the official, picks up the technical.
He goes to the bench following the technical foul, which will be shot by Larry Bird. Twice the Celtics have had 10-point leads in this game, and twice the Rockets have come back. They had a 1-point lead, and now Boston up by 1. And Hakeem Olajuwon has scored 7 of the Rockets' last 9, so he has been their leader again.
You know, Dick, when you have speed like the Rockets have in their lineup, even a 15-point lead is not safe against this team.
Lewis Lloyd replaces Wiggins in the lineup. Johnson and Seasting in the backcourt. Bird, McHale, and Parrish up front. Peterson is on McHale, the two Minnesota players. Keane trying to move Parrish away from his mark. But Parrish with the quick jump hook now with 8 points, 6 of them this period.
Good judgment by Olajuwon not to go for the block to pick up the foul.
Bird nearly stole the ball. McRae recovered and hits the jumper. Larry Bird, who's so great in anticipating on defense, nearly had a pickoff for the Celtics.
You know, the closer McRae's statistics can come to Bird's, the easier it's going to be for the Rockets to win.
Under fire, out to Johnson. Dennis with a 2-point shot missing. Parrish has position inside. Double team. And he travels. They're all over Robert Parrish. K.C. Jones, the only coach who has won 60 or more games on 4 occasions. Won the title in '84, runner-up twice, including with the Bullets in '75. Peterson against McHale. And showing him an offensive move or two, and that ties the game at 47.
If he starts scoring in that low post and gives them 3 players that can produce down there, the Celtics are going to be in deep trouble in this series.
This is our first tie since the game was early on at 4-4. Dennis Johnson poked in the eye by Reed. Says he's all right. Parrish working against Olajuwon. And Parrish makes a very tough shot against the Key.
Well, I'll tell you, Olajuwon was right on his shooting hand, too.
Celtics lead by 2. And Olajuwon says, no, you don't. We've tied it up again. Danny Ainge on the sideline getting ready to come back.
I think the best way to play Olajuwon is let him catch it and back off him a little bit. Don't let him spin on you. You're dead when he does that.
McHale against Peterson inside. And a good reverse layup by McHale, who has scored 13 points. So Bird and McHale have 28 of the Celtic 51. Back to Hakeem. And Hakeem moving out to the 12-foot mark, and he has hit 6 in a row now to tie the game again at 51.
A puff to be seen here. He's really just playing under total control.
He's trying to blow this house down. And Robert Parrish coming back, and so we're seeing front court scoring as we had promised. The action is inside and above the rim in this first half. Reed with a wild shot. Loose ball, it's against the Rockets. Let's see who the foul is on. Jack Madden made the call. And it's against Hakeem Olajuwon, his second, as Danny Ainge replaces Jerry Seasting for the Celtics.
Well, what the Celtics are doing right now is making Olajuwon face the ball every time they don't have a fast break, trying to tire him out that way, maybe pick up a foul. Olajuwon not dented emotionally by it at all.
Parrish, inside move against Hakeem. Short, Reed gets the rebound. Lead pass to Lloyd. Throws it into the hands of Danny Ainge, and the Celtics think they've got something going here. And it's McRae who knocked the pass away, and at the other end is Lewis Lloyd. And the former Overbrook High School star out of Philadelphia, which produced Wilt Chamberlain, among other people, has tied the game once more.
You don't see the Celtics throw the ball away that frequently on the fast break. They usually use that trail, a fourth man up the court beautifully. That time they didn't.
Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn will be hearing from Brent Musburger and company at the half. We're tied, game 1, best of 7 NBA Finals. The unlikely Rockets against the Celtics. Someone grabbed a hold of Parrish's jersey from behind, but he scored anyway.
Well, I think you got the benefit of the doubt that time, Olajuwon.
Celtics by 2. McRae playing a very smart game. Hakeem again hits, and this Boston Garden crowd can't believe what they're seeing. And Hakeem Olajuwon has scored 25 points here in this first period to keep Bill Fitch's team very much in the thick of things.
Here's Hakeem getting away with one. Makes the steal, but holds on to Parrish. If you get a hold of 0-0, you ought to come up with something, you know.
Bird working against McRae, gambling. Bird going in and hits the layup. You gamble against Bird, you may get burned, as Rodney was there. Under 2 minutes to go, first half.
That is the matchup to watch, McRae and Bird.
Olajuwon going to the well again. Loose ball. Bird is hit in the eye. Larry Bird got poked. We've had a lot of pokers in this game, haven't we, so far in this half?
Well, there's a pulled jersey and now a poke in the eye. And Olajuwon, they say, knocked it out of bounds.
We have a timeout with 1:43 to go in a fine first half of playoff action.
And they can improve on the non-existent perimeter game. They're going to be dynamite.
Billy, your thought?
Well, I wonder about the Celtics. Is it the 8-day layoff? They just seem out of sync, or is it the Houston Rockets play?
All right, we'll hear more from Billy and Hubie at the half. Let's go back down to Dick and Tommy.
Thank you very much, Brent. And before we talk about what Olajuwon has done so far, what are your views about that? You've seen the Celtics a lot, and of course lately we've seen the Rockets a good deal.
I think a little there, a couple of days layoff might have hurt their passing a little bit, but they are finding out why the Rockets beat the Lakers. Hakeem Olajuwon.
He has 25 points and 8 rebounds, and a lot of them, most of them off the offensive glass. Ainge is open right now. Danny Ainge missing. McHale is there to keep it going for the Celtics. Minute and 23 to go in the half. McHale. Basket good and a foul. He had to improvise a lot on that, and Kevin McHale has 15 now.
And that's the first real foolish foul by Olajuwon, I believe. There's Olajuwon. They'll come from behind and just hits him on the arm as he's taking the shot. I mean, he showed such good judgment working against Parrish, and to make a foul like that, you know, that's experience. You know after a while when you come down on a guy, the referee more often than not's going to call it.
Each of the Twin Towers for the Rockets have 3 personal fouls, and Alan Level, who played in the '81 championship series against the Celtics, will be coming in shortly. So Olajuwon has 3 fouls. He's double-teamed. Going in, the pass to McRae. Good pass by Hakeem with a minute to go in the half.
I mean, give me a break. A 7-footer splits a double like that as easy as can be.
He's like a 6'1" guard. Isn't that what Pat Riley said? That's how he plays out there. So it's 59-57 Celtics with 10 on the shot clock. Bird. Reed is coming around to help. 5 on the clock. Dennis Johnson, short, and Peterson, and McHale, has it knocked away, blocked by Olajuwon, and he just out-jumped Jim Peterson there, did Kevin McHale. Here's Level in the game.
Level will provide some scramble defense against the low post. He was very effective in Game 5 against the Lakers.
They have 6 men on the court for the Rockets. I don't think you can play that way. And finally, Olajuwon, who has 3 fouls, goes out, and a 20-second timeout called by the Boston Celtics. Well, it was in 1981. Larry Bird was here. We talked about some of the other cast of characters. This was the starting lineup when the Rockets lost to the Celtics in 6 games. Bird and Parrish, Reed, of course, we're here. Chris Ford is an assistant coach for Casey Jones and the rest of the group.
Well, you know, it's an interesting series. Moses Malone was there, did great work on the boards, but Del Harris, the coach of the Rockets at the time, elected to slow it down, probably, and Boston really just outran him.
There they are, Olajuwon and Sampson. Burden with 3 personal fouls here. 35 seconds to go, and Sampson has played just about 5 minutes of this game, and yet the Rockets trailed by only 2, and Ralph has not scored in the game, and that's 22 points that the Rockets have gotten from him in the ball. McHale at the foul line with a jumper. Kevin McHale now matches Bird's 17 to lead Boston.
You know, needless to say, Dick, with Peterson playing center, this is a very small lineup. The more that the Rockets have to go to this lineup, the tougher it's going to be. They could get blown out.
Peterson hits from the corner. 61 to 59, and the Celtics will play for the last shot now. I don't think the Rockets will use that lineup much. I think Bill Fitch knows he only has a few seconds to go to the half to regroup.
I think you're right, but I'm just saying, if the Celtics should get those big guys in foul trouble early.
1 second, aim. Well, the Celtics had a 6-point lead after 1 period. Ralph Sampson has spent practically the entire first half on the bench and has not scored. But Akeem Olajuwon has 25. Bird and McHale each have 17, and the Boston Celtics lead over the Houston Rockets at halftime, 61 to 59 at halftime.
Live from Boston, CBS Sports coverage of the 1986 NBA Finals is sponsored by Colt, imported for Dodge and Plymouth, built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Colt, it's all the Japanese you need to know. Honda Motorcycles, Honda, follow the leader. And by Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution.
Hubie, with a record like the Knicks had, I'd wear a disguise too.
It's for the tear stains over 2 years on the cheeks.
Hubie, what about Akeem Olajuwon? He's been a monster here in the first half of the Rockets.
Well, it's great for any young player out there because he's showing a multitude of moves. It's just not relying on one fact. Plus, he's on the offensive boards, and no one can block him out one-on-one.
What about the Celtics, Billy? Do you see them coming to life a little bit after you made your observation that they were out of sync?
Brent, I saw spurts here and there of the Celtics defensively getting out in transition. Did not see that consistently, and I'm sure they're looking for a strong third period.
Billy and Hubie, let me update a couple of sports stories. First of all, the Indianapolis 500 not run today, and it's unlikely that they will be able to run. It was postponed yesterday, of course. They are meeting now behind closed doors, determining the fate of the race. Back to our basketball news. There could be a coaching change with the Portland Trailblazers. Jack Ramsey may be out. Now, I say maybe. He has a year left on his contract, but the Trailblazers are actively seeking another coach. Ramsey obviously is not going to quit. If they fire him, well, Jack would be hired by another team, I think. But Billy Cunningham, you played for him. Is Jack Ramsey over the hill as an NBA coach?
Well, he is as competitive a man as I know of. I played 11 years in the NBA, played under 5 coaches. Jack Ramsey was number 1 in my eyes.
Hubie, what do you think about the Trailblazer situation?
Well, you know, if the rumors are true, Brent, they've definitely talked to people at the college level as well as the pros. Unfortunately for them, they have not gotten the right person, or maybe something would have happened. The sad thing about this is that management must feel then that their team is every bit as good as Houston or LA. Otherwise, why would you be doing this? And I think that next year, what you are doing is you're compounding a situation, because if the coach returns and all of the players return, well, boy, that's pretty difficult to get fine harmony.
All right, Hubie and Billy, we're going to come back in a moment. We're going to have our CBS Player and Coach of the Year, and Billy Cunningham and Hubie Brown will explore the Rockets and the Celtics after these messages from your local station. Finals with the Celtics leading the Rockets by 2 points, and I'm with Billy Cunningham and Hubie Brown. Hubie, let's get right to it. You like the Rockets. You think they can win this championship series, and I'm surprised.
Well, I think that any time that you tell me that I can match up on the boards, in shot blocking, in team speed, well, then all I have to do with my ball club is get them the shots that they can make and understand that we don't need two guys to carry us. We need three players to get the points and cement. I think that's what the Celtics have in an overall 7-game series and the experience. But I like what they're doing in the low post game. I just wish that their perimeter game was a little bit more effective.
Billy, see, you disagree with that. You go the other way.
After watching the Celtics play against Milwaukee, I felt they even had another level they could reach as a team. And they're going to have to reach that level against this Houston team. But they had a successful first half, getting Sampson and Olajuwon with 3 fouls, and I'm sure that was the goal of Casey Jones.
Gilby, Bill Fitch was a coach here with the Celtics. Does that help him in preparation?
Well, I think that might be overrated. I really do. But at crunch time, if you're getting down to a particular play, he knows the idiosyncrasies, the favorite moves, the place where the key player might want to catch the ball. That only in that effect.
What'd you see with the Lakers, Billy? What happened to them, and where do they go from now?
You know, Brent, there was something missing, an intangible, that everything they did was such hard work. There were no easy baskets. They didn't flow. They can recapture that next year.
All right, Billy and Gilby, I want to get your thoughts on our Miller Lite CBS Player and Coach of the Year. We'll find out who the gentlemen are who we're going to honor this year as voted on by our CBS sportscasters and our CBS producers. And here to do the honors for us is Kevin Wolf of Miller.
Miller Lite is proud to present these awards benefiting the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. The NBA Player of the Year, as selected by CBS Sports, is Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics. This is the 3rd straight year that Larry has won this award, and during the regular season, this superstar ranked among league leaders in scoring, rebounding, steals, three-point shooting, and free throw percentage. In addition to this trophy, Larry, Miller Brewing Company will make a contribution in your name in the amount of $5,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kevin. I would like to thank CBS Sports and Miller Lite for this award, and I am thrilled to win it for the 3rd straight time. I am glad to be involved in the fight against multiple sclerosis.
Best of luck to you, Larry. The NBA Coach of the Year is Mike Fratello of the Atlanta Hawks. In just 3 seasons, Fratello has transformed the youthful Hawks into a league power. This year, Atlanta won 50 games and extended Boston in the playoffs. Mike, in addition to this trophy, Miller Lite will make a $5,000 donation to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society in your name. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kevin. My sincere thanks to Miller Lite and CBS for presenting the award. To win this award, there are many people involved. My owner, Ted Turner, our president, Mike Guerin, our general manager, Stan Kasten. My thanks for giving me the opportunity to coach this team and helping to put it together. My staff, Brendan Sir, Willis Reed, Ron Rothstein, Joe O'Toole, my thanks for a job well done this year. And last but not least, the 12 people that wore the Hawks uniform this year, our team. You did a great job. Thank you.
Well, Hubie, did you teach Mike all he knows when he was your assistant coach?
No, listen, Michael made a heavy contribution in Atlanta and in New York for me, but I'm happy for Michael, his team, and most of all, I'm really happy for the fans in Atlanta.
Really big surprise that Larry Bird was the MVP.
Wasn't it a shock? I wonder who he's going to thank next year when he wins it for the 4th straight time.
Let's take a look down the road, the second half of this game now, Billy. We've got the Celtics and the Rockets. It's been tight all the way. Some foul problems brewing perhaps for the Rockets. What do you see at the second half?
A couple things. The Celtics have to do a better job against Hakeem down low in the low post. First period they did it. They have to make sure they're in sync. It seemed like they were trying to force him to the middle, but they gave up the baseline too often to Hakeem.
Hubie?
Well, I think what we look for is every time the ball goes into Sampson or Olajuwon, Larry Bird is running and leaving Rodney McRae. The Rockets, in order to take off the pressure, if they catch McRae on a backdoor move to the basket, or Rodney McRae gets on the offensive board, he can become a pivotal man in the series.
You sound the same despite the disguise. Thanks for Billy and Hubie, thanks for dropping by. Coming up, it'll be the second half. Game 1 of the NBA Final. Dick Stockton and Tommy Heinsohn will be right back after this.
Have a 2-point game at halftime with the Celtics leading the Rockets, which have to be a surprise right off the top. And Tommy, there doesn't seem to be a mystery in any game 1, especially between teams that don't know each other that well. And I think that what you've seen is teams doing what they've been doing all year, basically.
I think the Celtics have been introduced to the new Hakeem Olajuwon and the new Rockets. They now have to be very respectful of what the Rockets can produce, even without Ralph Sampson. I think the Rockets now know that they can really be can step on the court and play with the Celtics. Very important factor for them in game one.
Twice they came back from 10-point deficits and to hang in there. Now both teams shot extremely well in the first half. Boston at 57%. Now the next one is awfully interesting because we've been talking about the huge front line, and the Celtics have outscored the Rockets by 11 on the front line. I know Olajuwon is 25, but Ralph Sampson has played 5 minutes and hasn't scored, and Jim Peterson had to play 19 minutes in the first half.
Now we're going to see some blocking out techniques. Dennis Johnson will come in and set a pick on McRae, and so Rodney doesn't get the rebound. Watch what he does. A little hooking, a little holding. Come out and dance with me outside. And look at Bird trying to hold Reed, too. I mean, that's what goes on underneath there. Dancing.
All right, everyone talks about the Houston Twin Towers, and here is the scoring involving the Twin Towers. Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. It's been all Olajuwon. And, of course, as we concentrate on the men up front, we also have to peek at the guards. And right now, the Celtic guards are shooting 3 for 10 in first half action. Underway in the second half, Ralph Sampson and Olajuwon with 3 fouls apiece are in there as we start the period. Rodney McRae hits the first shot and ties the game at 61.
Very interesting when you come out of the huddle, who do you go to first? Rodney McRae. That's to try and keep Bird busy from being that free safety defender that they like to use, the Celtics.
So every time McRae does something offensively, he's got to keep Bird occupied. Here's Parrish. And Parrish's shot falls. Robert Parrish has 16 points, had only 2 after 1 period today.
And they go right to Parrish to work on Olajuwon, hoping that they can pick up a 4th on him.
Celtics adept at causing opposing centers and forwards to get deeper into foul trouble. Here's Olajuwon spinning out, and Parrish has the rebound. The rebounding was about even, 22 to 20 in the Celtics' favor. Dennis Johnson led them with 6. Ainge. Rebound Olajuwon. And Hakeem now with his 9th rebound of the game.
Danny Ainge just aimed that one. No fluid motion on the shot.
McRae, 2 for 2. So Rodney McRae hot starting the third period.
Well, you remember what I said, Dick? The closer McRae's stats are to Bird's, the easier for the Rockets to win, and they're working McRae's number.
Bird with 17 working against McRae, who has 16. And now the Houston Rockets are going to be hit with a technical foul. Illegal defense, the second one called, and Bill Fitch doesn't agree. By the way, the Indianapolis 500, which was postponed yesterday because of rain, was again canceled because of rain with no makeup date. So rain canceled one of the great events in sports.
Well, we've got a track meet going on here.
A lot of tires getting worn down.
Some rubber burning, you're not kidding.
Celtics have had their problems from the free throw line, missing 7. They lead by 1 in the game. Sampson defending against McHale. Crashing the board was Ainge. Lloyd. Pass was behind him. Here's Sampson going in. Houston ball. It was knocked out of bounds by Bird.
I'll tell you, there was one guy that didn't like sitting on that bench for that first half. Ralph Sampson, boy, did he hustle up on that wing.
Sampson against Parrish now. Ralph with the hook. Goes after the second chance. Knocked away by the Celtics. Houston ball again.
Good move by Ralph Sampson. He's long cinched right off. He's got to get back into the flow of the game.
You can shoot from outside. That's not where, of course, you want him at 7-4. Olajuwon in a crowd. Beating McRae. Blocked by McHale. Here's Olajuwon losing it to Ainge. Tough inside play, and Louis Lloyd tips it away. Boston ball.
I'll tell you, there's a nice lay-down pass to Olajuwon, and they try to get it back to McRae, and there's McHale, a shot blocker in his own right, and look at Ainge with those quick hands. I mean, a lot of defense being played here.
And one of the television timeouts being called right here. It has to defend an individual player and not play the team defense. That helps the other club. Rodney McRae has 16 points. Bird has 18. And Bill Fitch has to like that matchup so far.
And I think he's been doing a creditable job on the boards, too. But by getting him involved in that offense more, Bird now will have to concentrate on keeping Rodney McRae out of the action, and he's going to have to, may take a little bit away from his offensive game to boot.
McRae was the third pick in the '83 draft after Ralph Sampson and Steve Stepanovich, and that pick was acquired by Houston in the Moses Malone trade to Philadelphia.
A smaller man than Moses Malone, but just as effective, McRae. He's a bull at his size.
Well, they got a couple other big guys to take over for Moses. Bird going strong to the hoop, blocked easily by Olajuwon. 3-on-2 for Houston. Lloyd to Reed. Reed goes in with a 6'8" reach over Dennis Johnson, and the Rockets have taken the lead again, 65-64. Last time they were in front was 43-42.
And Olajuwon made the block, and he was third man up on the break.
Dennis Johnson going in, the ball knocked away. It's still the Celtics possession.
Celtics are trying to penetrate a little bit, but the Rockets are outboxing them.
Bird finds McHale. Sampson has 3 fouls, and so does Olajuwon, with 9:25 to go in the third. Dennis Johnson hits a three-point shot. First one of the ball game.
And Robert Reed directing traffic. That's the man that's put a lot of poise in this Rockets ball club.
Sampson looking for Olajuwon. McHale trying to front Olajuwon and deny it. Reed, fall away. Ames on the air ball. Bird goes for 3. And it hits up on top. It hit on top, so the ball was automatically dead. How many times has Larry Bird broken the back of teams with hitting the three-point shot?
You know, he's a psychological master, Larry Bird. A lot of times in the Boston Garden here, he waits for just the right moment to throw that three-pointer up, and the other team collapses. But I don't think the Rockets are going to do it.
No, they haven't in playoff season. Hook shot by Sampson rolls off. Ralph is 0 for 5 from the field. He has yet to score, yet the Rockets trail by only 2. And Dennis Johnson is fouled by Lewis Lloyd going strong to the hoop.
Celtics really trying to penetrate now. Take it to the hoop, get the shot blockers leaping. If they can't score, perhaps put it on the glass for a free rebounder on the weak side to come in and stuff it.
Neither team shooting well here in the third period. Houston getting more shots. And here's Dennis Johnson shooting 2.
I think Dennis recognizes that he has got to produce some points in this series. And he was kind of on the fringe in the first half, but he's trying to make his presence felt in this quarter.
1 out of 2. 3-point Boston lead. That's how much time remains in the third period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. Game 1 of the NBA Finals from Boston Garden. Celtics looking for 16th title. Houston the first. Sampson goes up. Ball is blocked. Parrish with the block shot. Ames coming right back. And the Celtics lead by 5.
Ralph Sampson not too happy with himself. I think he's got such a size advantage. All he ought to do is on the catch, go up with the shot, get good position, and then shoot it.
Seems to be a different player when he has to play center when Olajuwon is out. Rodney McRae on the drive, and Rodney McRae has 18, second to Olajuwon's 25. Hakeem, by the way, has not yet scored here in the second half. McHale finds Ames. That's what the Celtics have been doing, the very teams all year.
Their outside shooting much improved this season.
McRae to Hakeem, lost the ball. Bird to Dennis Johnson. And Houston wants a timeout.
Where he's willing to give McRae some outside shots. And you watch what Bird does with it. That extra defender, good hands, and you watch what a nose for the ball will step in and pick it off. And the Celtics have been playing some exceptional defense, which has created some real good fast break opportunities. That's what gets their outside game going and their inside game going.
Larry Bird has 18 points to lead the Celtics. He has 10 assists, 7 rebounds, so he beats you in a myriad of ways. And the Celtics have outscored the Rockets 10-2 after trailing by 1 with 7:15 to go here in the third.
Many people say when the Celtics start digging in on that defense, that's when they're at their toughest.
See how the Rockets respond to another Celtic surge. Olajuwon has to pass off. Bird stopped him. Sampson has the ball knocked away. Ames finds Bird. And it's still Boston ball, last touch by Reed, but it was Larry Bird that saved an Olajuwon shot at the other end.
I'll tell you, they had a triple team on Olajuwon. No matter which way he spun, somebody was coming at him. I mean, they're grooving up their defense right now.
Ainge. And Sampson out-battles Bird for the rebound. Crowd wanted another foul. Too many elbows. Olajuwon inside. Foul. And the foul is on Kevin McHale, his third personal foul, and Olajuwon will shoot.
When he starts steaming up the court against the likes of Kevin McHale, McHale's going to get awfully tired in the latter part of this ball game, which could affect his own shooting touch.
Olajuwon misses the first. He's 3 for 7, and the only Rocket who has gone to the line other than Rodney McRae in this game. Normally he goes to the line a lot more times. He's not getting those situations inside to get by.
Well, they're spinning him away, Dick, and they're very happy that he's taking fall-away jumpers. I'll bet you his mixer of shots going to the middle to fall-away is about even.
Bird with a fake on McRae. Bounces it to Harris. And a loose ball foul call against the Celtics. And it's on Larry Bird. That's 3 on Bird. So Bird and McHale, each with 3 fouls. Olajuwon and Sampson, the same number for Houston. 6:15 to go in the third period. Dennis Johnson got a hand on it. Quick passing by the Rockets. Reed faked the pass, took a shot off the rim. There's Akeem. Took it away from Parrish and burned him, and that's the first point. First field goal for Olajuwon in the second half.
You know, Olajuwon will go after the ball like a good offensive rebounder until a guy has firm possession of it.
Sampson defending against McHale. Parrish is fouled by McRae.
Watch Olajuwon come in for the steal. I mean, McHale's leaning on him, and Olajuwon keeps poking at it like a good goalie in soccer order and puts it away through the net.
McRae's second foul. There is Akeem, who has 28 points in the ball game, and Robert Parrish.
You know, the first thing that goes, Dick, with a good free throw shooting team that gets a little bit tired is the free throws. And this long layoff right now, I think, is showing up in that department.
Larry Bird thought the layoff might affect the Celtics, but not for long.
Well, it's showing up, in my opinion, in the foul shots.
75-70 with 5:40 remaining, third period. The Rockets were trailing by 10 on 2 occasions. Quick double on Akeem. Fires it up and hits, and Olajuwon has 30 points at his playoff high of 40 against the Lakers in Game 4 of the Western Finals. There's Dennis Johnson going all the way in. No basket. We had a foul against the Rockets before the shot.
Olajuwon went right for the penetration, and they took it strong.
4 on Akeem Olajuwon as he shakes his head. Bill Walton, meanwhile, gets the call from Casey Jones. And now Walton is into the ball game, and you got a fresh Walton replacing Parrish, and you've got an Olajuwon who's been playing a lot of minutes out there for the Rockets.
Well, one of them is going to have to keep producing offensively for the Rockets, their low post game. I mean, Olajuwon carried it while Sampson was on the bench. Maybe Sampson, who has not gotten tracked in this second half, will reciprocate as we get down further into this quarter.
5-point lead for the Celtics. They led by 6 after 1 period and 2 at halftime. Sampson directing traffic. Trying to set a screen outside. Now looking for Reed's pass. 7 on the shot clock. Sampson still not scoring. 0 for 7 from the field. Ainge quicker than a lot of people know and think. With a spark plug. Dennis Johnson short. There he gets his own rebound. To McHale. And a foul. And it may be against Olajuwon, and it is. 5 on Akeem. 5 fouls on Olajuwon and a big break right here.
The Celtics have been taking it to both big guys with their low post game, something the Lakers were not able to do. What you're going to see right now, Bird, a little push there by Olajuwon. They slipped it inside off the rebound before Akeem was totally set up.
30 points, 12 rebounds, 7 of them offensive rebounds, and 3 block shots, and he goes to the bench for Jim Peterson, who played well with 6 points in 19 minutes in the first half, but he's no Olajuwon as Ralph moves to center.
Well, it'll be Ralph and Louis Lloyd. That's what Bill Fitch likes to do. We need some additional offense. I wouldn't be a bit surprised Lloyd gets more involved.
Dennis Johnson right on top of Lloyd, probably thinking the same thing. Steals the ball away. Ainge. And that's why Dennis Johnson is one of the best defensive players in the league. The lead is 9. The bench with 5 fouls after doing all of that, 30 points and 12 rebounds, and I think you'll see this is a terrible call by the official.
I think it is too, Dick. You'll see the ball goes out, and McHale in the position there, the hand on the back of Akeem, but what made it look more imposing than it really was is that McHale was fearful of getting his shot blocked and faded away, so it made it look like a push, and Olajuwon barely touched him. Bad call.
It's a very bad call because that can cost the team a game. That's 5 fouls. You're going to call a 5th foul. It's got to be a legitimate foul. Nothing like that. That was phantom all the way. 81-72, 4:25 to go. Of course, the Rockets have flourished without one of their 2 twin towers in the past, as they've proven. Sampson now has to go to work as the center. McRae gets knocked away by McHale out of bounds. Ralph becomes a different guy when he plays center, doesn't he?
Well, he's so big when he's in that low post, he can get the shot off against anybody. His trouble is really getting good position. He doesn't have the beef to fight the bigger guys, the beefier guys.
A lot more aggressive, though, when he's the center. Goes outside and still struggling. 0 for 8 from the field, and the Celtics can establish their biggest lead of the ball game. Bird tries to get it to Walton. Lloyd coming back. Peterson. Let's see how the Rockets face this hurdle now. With under 4 minutes to go in the 3rd period.
Ralph has got to produce for him.
Scores his first points of the ball game. And it comes with 3:44 to go in the 3rd. Olajuwon on the bench with 5 fouls.
That's what he should do. Just catch and go up and shoot the ball.
Walton loses it to Sampson, who's a pretty good ball handler with 3.5 to go in the 3rd.
Walton doesn't throw passes away like that usually.
Peterson out to Reed. Sampson fighting for the loose ball. Knocks it into the court, into the hands of Dennis Johnson. 7-point Celtic lead, 81-74. Here's McHale against Peterson. An easy 2 for McHale.
Well, McHale knows where the defender is. He's the best I've seen in years getting a shot off on the catch.
21 for Kevin McHale, and he's the high scorer for the Celtics. Bird is on Lloyd now, doubling on Sampson, and takes the ball away. 3-on-1 for the Boston. Biggest lead of the game right now for the Celtics, 11 points with 2:40 remaining in the 3rd.
And they're getting aggressive on the defense. And Bird, the free safety, having his way.
Celtics threatening now to open this game up wide. The Rockets have had an answer each time. McRae turnaround hits, and Rodney McRae now has 20 points, 7 more than his playoff average. the middle. Sampson playing with 3 fouls. Danny Ainge, 12 points, 10 of them here in the third.
That's an old style play the Celtics used back from the 50s. A little split off the high post. You could see it was well scouted by the Rockets. The Celtics used the counter on it.
Reed has lost his eye from outside after hitting early shots. Celtics by 11, and a Rocket foul inside. Dennis Johnson penetrating well here in the second half. Mitchell Wiggins returns to the game for the Rockets.
What a move that time by Dennis Johnson. He stood up straight. He lulled the defense into thinking he was going to pull the ball out and then bent his knees and surged forward. Great.
Lloyd goes out. Peterson picks up his third personal foul. And here comes David Thurkill, who also is moving up into the reserve picture. Bird goes out, gets the hand. He has scored 18. Fine all-around game as usual for number 33.
This is the spot Wedman usually comes in. Instead, Thurkill, who's not nearly as endowed offensively as Wedman, but he can get out and break and play real rebounding, tough, close defense.
One of the final cuts of the Celtics this year. Bird also with 8 rebounds and 11 assists with his 18 points. Sampson against Walton, and Walton commits the foul. Only the third team foul against Boston. Walton's first.
I tell you what Walton did that time is just stick his hand out there where Ralph might have been trying to grab it to shoot the hook shot.
Hale's giving Peterson the outside shot. Moving closer inside. McRae has a pick from Sampson. Pick and roll doesn't work. Sampson didn't roll, and Thurkill picked it off.
Never stepped inside Thurkill. Thurkill outfoxed him.
1:08 to go, third period. Wiggins now on Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson couldn't do any better, could Wiggins, on that play. Huh?
Without Olajuwon in there, not afraid to post up their guards.
15 on the shot clock. Sampson misses again. He's only hit 1 shot today. 15-point lead for the Celtics, threatening to break this one open. And Olajuwon on the bench with 5 fouls. Wiggins comes out of nowhere, and it's still Boston ball. An 8-day layoff, and the Celtics having some problems, mostly, as Tom pointed out, at the free throw line, have their game in gear now.
We're going to see a great defensive play in anticipation where Sampson likes to start the shot from. You'll see Walton now fighting for position against Sampson, and once he spreads out, look at the technique. Don't let him get to the spot. I mean, that hand is out there. Now look at where the hand is. That left hand is keep it down in there. Don't let him grab so he can swing for the hook shot. Good technique. Watch Peterson now try to keep Walton from going up court. Hold him. And nice pirouette there, didn't you think? I gotta tell Bill Walton about that.
Thursday night, we'll be with you at 9 o'clock Eastern for Game 2 of the NBA Finals here at Boston Garden. And then the series will move to Houston for the next 3, Game 5 if necessary. Keep in mind the Celtics have won 38 in a row here at Boston Garden and in Hartford, where they played 3 games, part of their home arrangement. Lost only 1 regular season game all year. Tommy, we've been talking about the front line and Olajuwon and Sampson and all the fine Boston players, but the Celtic guards have really come alive in the second half. Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge combined had 7 points in the first half. They are now 22 points so far in this third period, and those are just the 2 starting guards.
Well, I said they would come into more prominence as the series develops, but right now there's such a standoff between the big players that some teams' guards are going to spell a difference. I'm very impressed right now by the way the Celtics have attacked the big people, got them in foul trouble, something that the Lakers were not able to do. They didn't have enough versatility in their low post game. They had one player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the Rockets teed off on him.
Let's take a look at the free throw shooting in this ball game, and you can see a far cry from what the Rockets knew in that Lakers series. They've gone to line only 8 times. Last touch by Johnson. Reed made a fine defensive play with 33 seconds to go. 91-76, the Boston Celtics, who have had a marvelous year. Well, maybe one of the greatest, if not greatest, passing teams of all time. Great balance. Peterson. This is with a jump hook. McHale out of the pack. Dennis Johnson inside the third kill with a turnaround. Danny Ainge. Loose ball. 7 seconds to go in the period. Dennis Johnson for 3. And Sampson has it as the third period comes to an end. Every Celtic is in double figures, and that's the way it's been for all but 2 of their playoff games. That's the end of the third period with the score. Boston 91, Houston 76. We'll be back after this word from your local station.
They didn't give out sunglasses here like they did in Houston.
That was a tremendous effort. 36% shooting by the Rockets in the second half so far. The Celtics outscored Houston 30-17 in the period.
Well, the Rockets have to get back in it now. That's why Olajuwon is back in the game.
Bird misses. Sampson the rebound. Parrish is also back in there. For the Celtics, they're going with Parrish and Walton, as well as Larry Bird. 21 from McHale. He leads Boston. Olajuwon 30 points, high score in the game. Allen level. Misfires, and Dennis Johnson gets the rebound. Dennis Johnson has 11 rebounds.
Well, if Wiggins is going to take him underneath to go for the offensive board, Dennis is going to block out beautifully. That's one of the things he does very well. He played forward and center in college.
Danny Ainge on the other way. Familiar play that the Celtics have run I don't know how many times.
Well, the Rockets doubling off of Danny Ainge because Bill Fitch, when he was here, didn't think that Ainge was that good a shooter.
Ainge has been an integral part of this club. Come on to be a tremendous performer. Mitchell Wiggins missing. Sampson, rebound missing. The Rockets can't hit from outside, and they can't make it go from inside. Parrish. Rebound by Wiggins. Fast breaking for level.
Parrish beats Sampson up the court.
Wiggins going in. Good feed to Olajuwon. Olajuwon playing with 5 personal fouls. Bill Fitch has to go with it. Turns it over. McRae. Bird lost it to McRae. Level. And Olajuwon is fouled. Going for the loose ball. Turnover Story. Rockets protected the ball well in the Lakers series, and they're about even.
But they're fast breaking a lot more in this game than they did throughout the LA series. They were content to run their half-court offense a lot more.
3 fouls now on Danny Ainge. That ball tipped, missed. Walton the rebound.
Great outlet pass that time by Walton.
Quick passing by the Celtics. Ainge working against Wiggins. And the Celtics turn it over, but the Rockets are not capitalizing on the offensive end.
Not so far, at least. On the steals, they're not getting that break going.
McKean double team with Ainge and Walton. And a foul called against the Celtics. And the foul. That was on Walton. Timeout. Just one game here at the Hallowed Garden are leading by a 93-78 count, 9:35 to go in the fourth period. And one of the big stories for the Rockets has been the problems Ralph Sampson has had in this game. Picked up 3 early fouls in the first period, shooting only 1 of 12 following a pattern we saw in the Lakers series.
Well, he didn't play too well in the first couple of games against the Lakers, but he's the guy that made that winning shot in the final game. But I'll say this, it's very unfair right now to characterize Ralph as not giving it all he's got. In fact, that's probably what caused his problem, is that he was so anxious to get into this championship round. He was very too aggressive on defense, picked up those fouls too early.
All right, now let's go out to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
We are underneath, we are outside the garden here, and there are so many people covering this thing, they can't get them all inside the garden. In fact, this basketball series is going to go to more than 40 countries. Basketball is indeed international. And with me now is Marcelino Benito de la Iglesia, who reports for Superbasket in Madrid. Basketball, American basketball is very popular in Spain.
Oh, yes, it's very popular.
Who are your favorite American teams over there?
The most important team American is the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Chicago Bulls because he play Michael Jordan, and now is the Rockets because it's the final playoff.
Now it's the Houston Rockets. Thank you. Enjoy the series. Basketball goes international. Let's go back to Dick.
Thank you very much, Pat. We've had the biggest request for media in NBA playoff history for this first game as well.
Guy sounds like they're very fickle fans over in Spain. Now it's the Rockets, huh?
They got there just in the last 24 hours, I think. Allen Level controlling outside. Danny Ainge on him. Picks up the pass intended for Olajuwon. So Level telegraphed that pass, and Ainge made an easy pickoff.
And the Celtics are sitting back because the Rockets have not hit the outside shot. They'll pick off a lot more.
9:15 remaining in the fourth period. Walton. Running hook shot. 8 points for Bill Walton, who also has 7 rebounds. Doing his usual superlative job off the bench. Olajuwon. Whistle. No basket if it had gone. Danny Ainge in the pack picks up his 4th foul. Top scorers in this game. Olajuwon, who had 25 points at halftime, has 32. Kevin McHale with 21 for the Celtics. All 5 starters, as usual, in double figures. Wiggins, pass picked off by Bird. Boy, when the Celtics, they're like sharks out there, aren't they?
I'll tell you, they open up what looks like an area to pass to, and then they close it down. They bait you into it. That's how smart their defense is.
95-78, the Celtics lead. Harris, 3 inside. Bill Fitch seeing it from the other side. He used to be here in Boston. And Coach Larry Bird in his rookie year, and Bird said Bill Fitch was the best coach I played for.
You see the savvy in action. Remember we talked about the court savvy? They're doing it. The Celtics are picking them apart right now. Wherever the opening is, they're giving it to them.
Allen Level got that last shot. McRae on Bird. They isolate Bird. Under 8 minutes to go in the fourth. Bird, the last resort.
I'll tell you, the presence of mind to know that Olajuwon was coming and then to make sure it lofted over Olajuwon's hand.
99-80, and the Celtics right now in a rout over the Houston Rockets. Pick off another one, and they can do it at will the way they're playing. You give them an opening, and they'll do what they want. Dennis Johnson. And a 20-second timeout called by Houston. Listen to the Boston crowd.
Bird with the up fake, and we're going to watch Larry Bird now on defense kind of bait them right into making a bad pass. He's on the weak side, he's looking, steps out, knows that it's going cross court, just steps right back in. That's what you talk about, the computer mind of Larry Bird. He's 3 steps ahead of you when the wheels turn. He outthinks you.
And that's what he's done today. 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists. Coming back from a injury-plagued series against the Lakers last year. He wasn't himself. He's healthy and hungry this time. Wiggins. And Mitchell Wiggins hitting outside. Rockets have just been ineffective for the most part, other than a couple of flurries by Reed outside today. There's 7 minutes to go. 101-82. 21-point lead moments ago with the Celtics' biggest of the game. Bird backing McRae in. Now Wiggins helping out. Ames. Walton, no one there. And Walton scores easily. Olajuwon looks like he just stood there.
I'll tell you right now, Dick, what is really showing in this ball game is a little venom in the hearts of the Celtics. I mean, they want to go for the juggler to take that confidence away from the Rockets.
Level hits a three-pointer from the corner. And Ainge, releasing the other way, gets 2 of them back. Robert Reed, that's what he thinks of this game. And, you know, it's a good point, Tommy. And as we look ahead, as we get down to the end, how the Rockets respond to this will tell a lot about what they're made of, too.
Take no prisoners. That's Larry Bird's motto. I mean, he is a juggler player. I mean, he goes right for the vein that pumps, gets the blood from the heart.
Last touch by Wiggins. Lewis Lloyd has 4 points, and he looks like he'd want to be anywhere but Boston Garden right now. Timeout with 5:54 to go. It's been that kind of afternoon for Mitchell and company for the Houston Rockets. Tommy, remember when people said the Boston Celtics just don't have the good backcourt? Dennis Johnson, who always at his best in a championship series, has 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. Danny Ainge has really come alive, and a tremendous spark plug on the fast break, pesky defender. Those two have led the way in the backcourt for the Celtics.
Well, they are really court savvy, to use that phrase again. They pick their spots. When they need it, they know when to take the shots. They might spend a whole quarter setting up a guy to let him think that they own him, you know, and all of a sudden they make their move.
No surprise to Bill Fitch, who said yesterday to us, the Celtics have no weaknesses. Our job in Game 1 is just to try to search for it. I don't think he's found it yet.
Well, they got the matchup against Bird. McRae was holding his own. What I really think the problem is the eagerness of the Rockets reared its ugly head, and they picked up those early fouls that took them right out of their rhythm.
5:45 remaining in the 4th period. Olajuwon, a great first half, slowed down a bit. Larry Bird gets called for the foul, doesn't appreciate that one, and Bird now with his 4th foul. Shooting foul.
That might have been clean, I'll tell you. But anytime you come down with your hand towards the ball, 9 out of 10 times the referee's going to call a foul on you.
Olajuwon was called for his 5th foul, which seemed to take the air out of the Rockets' balloon in what was a bad call from every angle that we could see.
I say this, though, that the Celtics have, and part of their game plan is going to take it to Olajuwon and try and get fouls on him. So if he is less aggressive in shot blocking, it could have a bad effect the other way.
105-88. The Rockets stayed with the Celtics, trailing by 2 at halftime, and then in the 3rd period, the Celtics opened it up. Sampson had foul trouble early. Olajuwon failed foul trouble later in the game. They're both in there, but the Celtics definitely in control of this one.
Now is the point where you're going to find out whether the Rockets have poise. Climb back into this thing, and really, you've got to say, 4th quarter, don't roll over.
Level misses a 3-point attempt. McHale gets a rebound. I don't necessarily think if they don't come back, they don't have poise, but if they do, it could be a big boost for them.
That's what we're talking about, the confidence factor. Don't show that you're getting beaten this bad. You got to go keep plugging right down to the end of the ball game.
Even if you don't win, which is unlikely for them. Ames with a short jump shot. Sampson the rebound. To Level. Level trying to push it up. Almost overran the ball, and a Celtic foul on Dennis Johnson, who can't believe that call.
That's one of Dennis Johnson's favorite moves, to poke at the ball as the man thinks he's going to get by him. I'll tell you, about 80% of the time he's successful.
Look at the balanced scoring for the Celtics. 21 for McHale, 20 for Bird, 19 for Dennis Johnson and Robert Parrish, 16 for Ainge, and Walton off the bench with 10. There is Bill Walton. What a great acquisition. You want to talk about a rebirth in basketball interest for the guy who was part of a championship team with Portland in '77.
I mean, he was like a kid just let out of high school to play his first game when he showed up here, let alone the veteran that he is. Very happy to be here with the Celtics. Always wanted to play here, he said.
He likes hanging around Harvard Square. Those are his kind of people. 4:35 to go now. Parrish setting a screen. Johnson, Wiggins fights through it. Bird, where did he come from? Parrish gets Sampson and Olajuwon in the air and scores. That says a lot, that one alone.
That is experience. A nice dribble and an up fake lifted both of them.
Into Akeem. Robert Reed. He was there early, Reed. 10 points in the first period, has 12 in the game. Bird down at the other end. And Level commits the foul.
That's the type of hustle that the Rockets need, though, that Allen Level just provided. Give no quarter. Give no easy baskets. Watch Parrish lift the Twin Towers. Nice lay-down pass to Bird. There's the step in. Another fake. That lifts Olajuwon. That is court savvy in action once again.
This is a breakaway foul. So it'll be a two-shot foul for Larry Bird. And it'll be the Celtics' possession. It was a foul. I have called a breakaway foul, and Bird was deemed by the officials to be ahead of the pack enough.
I think he went strictly for the ball. I don't think that was a breakaway foul.
Sam Vincent getting set to come in, so Casey Jones going deep into his bench. Here's Vincent, a rookie from Michigan State, replaces Dennis Johnson. Just another day at the office for Dennis Johnson. Under 4 minutes remaining now. Game one. Bird. This is a three-pointer, and Mitchell Wiggins. Bird hustling down defensively. Reed is fouled by Danny Ainge, and that'll be 5 on Ainge. Tommy, it's 108-89, and the Celtics are flying right now. Game 2, 9 o'clock Eastern time. First question, can the Rockets mentally bounce back from this one?
Well, Bill Fitch has been here before. These players, some of them haven't. Reed has, and Allen Level has. They know that you can bounce back from anything. He will use these guys as sounding boards for the next couple of days. What the Rockets really have to do, I think they'll bounce back okay psychologically, but they have to find a way now to beat the Celtics. They know that their strength, their supposed strength, is not going to work.
And we're going to get into specifics as Olajuwon goes out. He has scored 33 points, had 5 fouls, and picked him up with 4:50 remaining in the third period. As Reed shoots another free throw. That was the critical time of this game. The Celtics were up by 5. Olajuwon went out with his 5th foul. Celtics outscored the Rockets 14-4 and have gone from there.
He's such an emotional force for this team, and Sampson, so long on the bench, wasn't able to pick it up after he went out.
Sampson spent all but 5 minutes of the first half on the bench. Traveling call. Craig Elo, number 3, came into the ball game. Elo, a smart reserve, doesn't play all that much, doesn't make mistakes when he's in there. Bill Fitch likes him. Hitting outside is Robert Reed. 15-point Celtic lead. That's the time remaining.
Little experiment going on here. Robert Reed is guarding Bird. Bill Fitch wants to see what Reed can do with Bird. Maybe he'll two-time him and rotate people at Bird.
Reed, Bill Fitch was talking about guarded Bird, but everyone says Reed did a magnificent job. Bird had some pretty good games in that 81 playoff. Vincent, who the Celtics like very much. Very quick guard. Rookies don't get to play much on this team. Ainge to Parrish. Good inside passing by Ainge.
That was a soft pass up around the letters. That's what enabled Parrish to handle it.
Sampson posting up. He's 1 for 12 from the field. Big part of Houston's problems today, plus his foul trouble early. Here's Ralph. Wiggins on the offensive glass scores. 2.5 minutes to go. What else have you seen here, Tommy, that the Rockets have to do to come up with an answer?
Really keep that running game going consistently. Push up as much as possible. You might see Allen level in the game a little bit more. His wrist is hurting him. He's rusty. His outside shooting, but that push-up might be very important.
Jim Peterson with a jump shot. Danny Ainge had hit it at the other end. Has 16 points this half. 2 minutes remain now. And we're going to see good rookie guard that the Rockets like very much, Steve Harris, coming in. 1:45 now. Celtic ball. Good day's work for Dennis Johnson. And into the ball game will be Hank McDowell and Steve Harris as Bill Fitch empties his bench with 1:45 remaining. Game 1. Celtics last year won the first game of the NBA Finals, beating the Lakers by a rousing 34-point margin. They eventually lost the series 4-2. And Larry Bird was telling me yesterday, he says it's important that the Celtics win the first 2 games because going on the road for 3, they can't take any chances in gaining a split in Boston, and they've got half of that job done.
I think that very important, that new format, 2-3-2, and Celtics, they feel, were victimized by that last year. I don't think they were, but they're very aware of not going where the other team can possibly win the series on their own home court.
Seasting into the ball game. Kevin McHale firing outside, and Granville Waiters gets the rebound, a 6'11" center and a project who played the last 2 years at Indiana. Also in the game, Hank McDowell, who joined the Rockets in February from the CBA. He's got the ball in there now, has a shot blocked by Parrish, and is fouled. McDowell, by the way, played with the Rockets last year before he hurt his knee and has been with 5 clubs.
Well, he's a little savvy guy. He's been around, knows how to play. Did a pretty good defensive job against Alex English in the Denver series.
The story here is that Bird is out. Larry Bird goes out with 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 13 assists. David Thirdkill replaces him. In the ball game now for the Rockets, they have the 19th pick in the draft, Steve Harris, their rookie from Tulsa in the backcourt, and the Celtics, of course, have had Sam Vincent, who was the 20th pick in the draft out of Michigan State. Here's our time.
There's Jerry Seasting, who may come into play in this series a lot more with that outside shooting, should the doubling of the Rockets develop more in the future games.
Elo goes all the way with it. Craig Elo from Washington State, a 3rd-round pick 3 years ago. Trying to track down Vincent with a minute to go. 112 to 100.
Sam Vincent adds a dimension to the Celtics, that of a penetrator, something that they don't really have.
Elo, the turnover, 3-on-1. Peterson inside, lost it to Vincent. Good quickness by Sam inside. McHale and Parrish have to do full duty in this one. Elo blocks the shot. You can see why Bill Fitch likes him, even if he doesn't play much. Good practice player, got poise. Peterson missed. Houston Rockets. Ralph Sampson, who scored only 2 points today and was 1 for 12, 13 from the field. And they're going to need more from him Thursday night.
You know, and one thing I think I saw something in this game that they've got another guy that can use the Celtics in their front line, Greg Kite.
Not for long.
Well, he played Akeem pretty effectively. In fact, I think the most effective of any of the Celtic big guys.
For 5 minutes or so, and that's all you need.
That's all you need. More people at Akeem More people will wear him down, take the ball to him.
Lewis Lloyd, 4 points. Ralph Sampson, 2. That's not what got the Rockets here. And the Boston Celtics, after an 8-day layoff and a 2-point halftime lead, put on the steam in the second half. And Bill Fitch, who used to work here, now has to go to the drawing board and see what adjustments he can make after game 1. And the Boston Celtics, looking for their 16th NBA championship, have now won 39 consecutive games wearing the white home uniforms as they beat the Rockets 112 and 100. And a victory smile for Ed Auerbach, who did not coach today's game.
Doesn't have his cigar lit up either.
33 for Elijah Wan. He was the game-high scorer. And the leading scorer for the Celtics was Robert Parrish with 23. Right now, let's go to Pat O'Brien. He's got Bill Fitch. Pat?
Coach, you seemed to be doing fine until you got into the foul trouble and Akeem left the game. Then what happened?
Well, I think we lost our poise, and I think we quit doing the things that got us here. We just more or less let them turn it around. They came back and played very well. Our shot selection, our decisions on defense. I don't think it was just the fact that Akeem was out of there, but that's when it all started.
What do you tell this young team now to bounce back?
7-game series. They got to beat us 4 times.
All right, Coach. Thank you. We'll be back in a little bit more with some more interviews as the Boston Celtics win Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and we'll be back after this. Stay with us.